everyone, and welcome to another episode of I've Been Playing. Today we are taking a look at Vampire Survivors. Yes, I realize I am way late to the party with this, and this episode is actually going to go out like 2 or 3 weeks after I record it, so it's going to seem like I'm even later than I actually am. But I have finally gotten around to playing Vampire Survivors, and since I've started playing that, basically nothing else. Vampire Survivors, if you're unaware, it did kind of sneak under the radar, even though it's extremely popular with people who have played it. It's a roguelike shooter, almost bullet hell at times. Well, I say almost, it kind of is, where you have different, I suppose they're vampire hunters, or vampire survivors, hence the title, and you fight the hordes of enemies. The main goal is to survive for 30 minutes, technically. You probably won't most of the time, but the goal is to get to 30 minutes, and you collect these little blue crystal looking things to level up, and as you level up, you can gain weapons or buffs. There are all sorts of different weapons or buffs you can have. You can have multiple weapons. I think you can have up to 6 of each at any given time, so 6 weapons, 6 buffs. You don't really do anything other than walk around. The weapons go as you go. They walk around and do what they're gonna do. You just have to pick which ones you want. So the first character you'll use most likely has a whip. You can upgrade that whip so it whips in both directions at once, and then it has more damage and things like that. So you can increase how many iterations of a weapon happen at any given time. You can increase damage. You can increase them up to, I believe, level 8, and then if you have the special corresponding buff that upgrades that weapon even more, you can make like the uber form of that weapon. So if you have the whip, for example, since we were talking about the whip, if you get it up to level 8, and then have the thing that upgrades the whip that I can't for the life of me remember off the top of my head, then you can have a whip that deals massive damage and heals you, which is really, really useful. There's also garlic, which will create like a bubble around you that will damage foes, so if you level that up enough, you can kind of just wade through hordes of enemies and just kill them instantly. It's really, really useful. There's also other things that kind of circle around you, like Bibles that are floating in midair and do a circling thing. There's something that's kind of like a boomerang. There's something that shoots lightning, something that shoots fire, and you can upgrade all of these, again, to level 8, increase how often they fire, how many things they fire at once, and how damaging they are, and you can also upgrade all of these to their extra special forms. Then you also have the buffs as well, so you have something that increases damage by, I believe, 10% each time you pick it up. You have something that increases your XP gain, which is useful if you want to level up everything as quickly as possible. There's other sorts of buffs like that that work in cooperation with your weapons. So yeah, there are different goals. You can unlock new weapons and things like that by doing certain tasks or collecting certain things in certain levels. There's a coffin in every level, which will spawn a ton of difficult enemies around it, and in order to get to it and open it, you'll need to kill them. At least I assume so, because the only time I managed to open one, I killed them all first. I couldn't just like wade through them and go to the coffin, so I imagine you have to kill all the enemies. And I mean, honestly, that's kind of about it. It doesn't sound that exciting when I explain it, because there's not much to explain, because like I said, the gameplay is mainly walking around and leveling up to collect weapons and weapon upgrades. There are some special things you can do, as I mentioned, the coffins, you can look for those. Each level, there are several different levels, you'll unlock them as you do certain tasks. The first one, I think you only have the forest available at first, and then you unlock the library, but the first 2 are a forest and a library. And as you complete different goals, you unlock new maps, new weapons, new buffs, all this sorts of stuff. It's a good game to just kind of jump in and say, oh, I'm just gonna play 1 round of this, and then you'll find yourself like 5 hours later. It's like, this isn't 1 round, and the first one lasted 10 minutes. How is this 10-minute round turned into 5 hours? It's one of those. But once you know what you're doing and you know which upgrades work for you, because there are some that are probably objectively better than others, you'll kind of end up figuring out a build that works for how you play, and you'll seek out those specifically. I almost always get the garlic if I can. I like to have a whip just because if I can upgrade it all the way, then I have a whip that gives me health. Actually, I think the garlic does too if you upgrade it all the way. I'm not really sure how the garlic super form works, You know, the lightning is useful because it zaps several people at once and kills them. You just have to experiment with it and figure out which things work for how you want to play the game. And also what you haven't unlocked yet, because if you upgrade things to level 7 or beyond, you tend to unlock other things as well. Genuinely, even though I had heard a bunch about this game before I tried it out, I didn't actually get into it at all until I saw gameplay of it, because I didn't really understand what it was, and it wasn't until I saw gameplay that I understood what exactly it was. It is on mobile. I don't know how the hell you would see anything if you're playing it on mobile, but it is on mobile, which I'm sure adds to its appeal, because you can play it anywhere. But it is on, I think it's on Game Pass right now. I don't know, I bought it, it's only like $5. But I believe it's on Game Pass, and I believe, at this point at least, it is on PC and Xbox. I don't think it's on your PlayStations or the Switch, but I could be wrong, and also I wouldn't be surprised if it is at some point. And it's a lot of fun. Be warned though, you will get addicted to it. So maybe it's best for mobile, because you can do it while you're out and about and waiting for things, as opposed to taking up your console gaming time or your PC gaming time with a game that you will be playing non-stop for hours on it. In any case, I recommend it. But that's my experience with Vamps? That's my experience with Vampire Survivors. Have you played it? Do you want to play it? Are you playing it non-stop and you can't even watch this video because you're playing it so much? Like, you have it going on in the background because I was talking about it and you were like, hey, I want to play this. Let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed this. I try to do one of these every Monday. At least every Monday I'm able to play enough of a new game to feel like I have thoughts about it. And yeah, I'll see you next time.